we have a very, very special guest, Maddie and Winston.
From Worldwide Winston, the channel, the traveling corg.
He looks so large.
He's very real.
I mean, he's like kind of British from his mother. He's half British, but
he's 50,
I mean,
50.
Yeah, he's just an absolute chonker. I love this man. So, does he talk in a British accent? Is he like, "Hello, governor"? Like, does he, or is he American?
No, he's an American boy. We mix the Forrest Gump with Scrappy Doo. You know when Scrappy's like, so he's like, he does a twist. Like, he's got that lisp of Forrest Gump. Like, if he could speak to me, I'm his mama. He'd be like, "What's up, mama? It's me, now Winnie."
Galen has a voice for Chili, and I think it sounds like Jennifer Coolidge.
Let me hear.
Wow, Chili, that's amazing. Wow. I always say wow. Everything is wow. Big stretch, wow. Poop,
so baby,
wow.
So wow.
I'm offending him.
I'm offending him. Well, let's get into this because I have so many questions, and a lot of the questions are just about how the actual hell do you get into travel? And as much as you do, like, you are like a freaking globetrotter. Winston is a globetrotter. Can we just talk about how many places has he gone, like, internationally?
So he's done 10 countries in total, but somebody told me the other day that apparently the Vatican is an actual country, in Rome is an actual country itself. So they told me 11. I'm still going to go with 10 because I feel like I'm not believing that is its own country. I Googled it. It says Maddie's
just disregarding history, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel
Winston makes his own map.
Is it pushing it if I say 11? Is it pushing it?
No. If that's the technical answer.
He's been to 11 countries.
That's
wow.
And he's just turned 3, so he's doing pretty good.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He's doing better than I was when I was 3, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And like, how did you get into this traveling corgi dog niche? And also, disclosure that Winston is a medical alert service dog, so of course he can travel, he can do these things. He has
I don't know, I need to say, because this is just on my mind, Lumi just turned 3, correct?
Yeah,
and he's like conjugated 3 brain cells in those years, and Winston has been to
11
countries. I really love that comparison.
All right, Galen. Anyway. Now I just feel like a parental failure. So fuck you. Anyway, let's just continue knowing that my dog has gotten 3 brain cells. Winston's been to 11 countries. Cool. But you know, Winston is a service dog, so obviously he has the rights and just is basically able to access countries through all these plane flights. And I'm just wondering, how the hell did you decide on going into this niche? Because this is like, dog travel is a pretty niche.
Yeah, it's like a very unique niche. Like, when I tell people what I do, they're like, huh? They're like so confused. But it was never planned. I didn't start Winston's account to ever be like, right, I'm going to start traveling the world with this dog and like make it a thing. I actually just started the account so that my family back in the UK could see the progression and the life I had with Winston, because all my family still live in England. And my family were like so intrigued by the whole thing. So I was like, I'm just going to make this account, and they can, instead of sending it all in WhatsApp, they can see our travels. And one day I posted this video, and I remember it so clearly. I went back to the UK because I had a doctor's appointment, because it's so much cheaper for me to go back to England than to have my medical stuff here. Love being British for that. But I was like, I'm going to go back. I said to my husband, I'm just going to go on my own for like 2 weeks. So I did this video of Winston flying on a flight, and we were in business class. And I think that was kind of more of like the clickbait of the video, that a dog was flying on business class. And I remember editing this video, and I was sat next to my younger sister, and I said, should I post this? It's kind of shit, isn't it? Like the exact words. I was like, shit. And she looked, she's like, it's shit, but no one follows you, so just post it.
What a supportive sister.
I know, but that's what we're like, we're savage. And I remember going to bed, and at the time we had like 200 followers. And all of a sudden, like, my phone is nonstop vibrating next to me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on my phone? And Winston is like, ding, ding. His notifications are blowing up. I suddenly have gone from like 200 followers and I've hit 10K. And I'm like, what is happening? And then the next day it's at 20, and then it keeps growing and growing. And before I knew it, by that video alone got me 50,000. Lumi's jealous. It's all right. Those 3 brain cells. We get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how many followers? How many followers did that? I mean, how many views did that video obtain?
I remember when it first happened, I thought, wow, like, I was telling everyone, this video's got 7 million views, which in comparison now, like, I have quite a few, but it had 7 million views, and I just went from having 200 followers to I think it was like just under 50,000. I started getting brands reach out to me, and I was clueless.
Crazy.
I didn't know what on earth I was doing, and honestly, I kind of just was going along like not knowing, because all of the accounts I was following were for dogs, because that was what I was interested in. I was following for other dogs, nothing to do with travel. Through that, I found a few other accounts that did dog travel, and I became friends with them, and they were amazing. There are 2 accounts in particular that reached out to me. One was NYC Yorkie Girls, Lisa. She was so friendly. She kind of gave me some advice with it, because with that as well, I didn't realize that it was so controversial, but apparently people hate dogs, and I was getting trolled so bad. And she was amazing. So she gave me tips and advice, and I kind of navigated it, and then just started working with brands and traveling. And it is a dream. If somebody said to me when I was at university doing my degree, what are you going to do with your degree? What are you going to do when you grow up? I would just laugh at somebody if they said you're going to get paid to travel around the world with your best friend. And that is basically what I'm doing.
So cool.
So it is amazing. It's challenging, but it is amazing.
So fast forward a bunch from when it first started to you doing brand deals and that becoming your full gig. When you get an inbox that says, we want you to come to this country, this place, whatever it is, what does that look like for you? Like, how much in advance is that? And then what do they require you to do? And how much of it do you get to just enjoy and like live whatever you want, but also do the content for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, do you get to like just sit on the beach, say if you're going to like Mexico, and then, you'll just kind of be taking content as you go about your day? Or is there like a strict protocol?
It really depends. Like I find the boutique hotels are much more relaxed, because it's kind of new for them as it is for me going to that hotel. So they're looking for me to kind of guide them on like what's successful from past collaborate. You want to go? Okay, do your thing. That's kind of, they're more relaxed. They want my opinion, and they're the best ones to work with, because I know what works well. I know my audience, and it allows me to produce really organic content where it is something I would post regardless if I was being like paid or collaborating with the hotel. The ones that are more like chain hotels, I guess is the word, they have set contracts, and they can they're not as freeing with the content, and they will give you specifics. So with those hotels, you don't really get to relax so much, because when you arrive, they want to meet you. They go through the contract, what they want you to do, timeframes that they need things for. So I find them less enjoyable. It is work.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that is something that a lot of people don't realize. It's so easy. And this is something I do want to say, because I know I get a lot of people messaging me wanting to do this. It isn't as glamorous as I make it look. Even with the flying with Winston, it is never as glamorous, but glamour sells. If you saw me like struggling or it's not as engaging. So it is my job to make things look as enjoyable and fun as possible. You're not seeing the things like when I check into a hotel, I could have done for example, I'll go from the America to the UK. And I remember I was so jet lagged. I was so tired because our flight had been delayed, and I just couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to get to a hotel, And I knew that if I didn't film the hotel as I arrived, the room itself, it was going to be a mess and it wasn't going to look the same. So I had to just push through. As soon as I get there, there's no relaxing, there's no sitting on the bed. Like, what should we do? It's okay, for the first hour, I'm having to like just get as much content as possible so we have a little bit of time to enjoy ourselves. So it isn't all the glamorous side you see. And it also sucks because I feel like a lot of people think it must be so fun for the person you bring along. And I always say, whoever I invite on this trip, it's normally my husband G, but sometimes I invite a friend and I have to remind them, like, it is work. I want you to have fun, but it is, at the end of the day, it's my business and I have to work. It's not all fun.
I love that you answered it like that and explained it that way, because obviously me and Jackie have done brand deals where we're staying somewhere, but it's so different than making our whole account. And even just with us, I know there's so much that goes into any brand deal ever, and adding travel to it, especially across the country. I think people always take Instagram as face value and think that you must have the most luxurious life. And I feel like I do think that it's really sick, and it is, I know that you're appreciative of it, but I can look at it and be like, holy shit, that's a lot of stuff. Like, I had the hardest time yesterday trying to film a lunch break day in the life thing. I literally went to a coffee shop in the park and I was like, I have, what did I say to you, Jackie? I was like 8 minutes of footage.
Oh, yeah.
I was like trying to shuffle through, and I was only gone for like 30 minutes. And I was like, I couldn't even imagine getting all the clips and then being like, okay, now I have to make an ad, but also try to enjoy myself because I just flew 14 hours. Like,
and look like I'm having a good time, even though I might be jet lagged as shit. Or maybe I'm sick, or maybe Winston, in this case, you know, he just doesn't really feel like walking around. Yeah. And
that's another huge thing as well. Like, it's gauging something that's important for Winston as well. Like, at the end of the day, I will continue doing this as long as Winston and I both enjoy it. If one of us doesn't enjoy it anymore, I would stop. And there are times where I've had hotels request certain things and I have to say no, because it either puts him in a situation that makes him uncomfortable or it's not safe for him, or it's like, okay, but he's a living creature with feelings. Like, I'm not going to just do certain things. So it can be challenging, because I do feel even with hotels, some of them do have these expectations of what they think I'm just going to be there, go, go, go. And they forget. I mean, they always say the hardest things to work with in television or movies are children and dogs. And it is, I have to go based on his energy. And sometimes, like, I did one collaboration when they wanted me with Winston and my nephew in it. Oh my goodness. After that, I'm like, I am never working with children and dogs again. It was the hardest thing, because you're dealing with these two individuals that have their own emotions and moods, and they communicate in just like whining. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But even they don't tell you when they're going to be sick or something. Like, Chili always gets like, not hurt paws, but like his joints just get sore sometimes. And then he's just like moping around and his feet are sore. And I'm like, okay, we can't do anything for a little while. It's totally different having him lay on the couch to make a video with me versus let's travel France.
Yeah.
Like, let's walk
there
around.
Was like one video I did with him, and I mean, I had to give up and I had to apologize to the hotel. They wanted this particular shot of him at their restaurant. He looked miserable the entire time. I'm like, smile. And he normally knows how, like, he smiles on cue. I taught him how to do it. And even with that, he was just, and I'm like, he just wants his food. Give the boy his food and let's see if we can go from there. And I had to just say, it's not going to work. Because I said he literally looks like he's having the most miserable time of his life.
Like, and he looks like he would rather eat like a razor blade. Like that was the vibe.
He's there in his tuxedo in like a Michelin star restaurant ready for the meal of his life. And he's just like, try me.
He's like, I've been to 11 countries, bitch. Do something better.
Yeah, he's
like Wagyu beef.
Yeah, he's like, Poland Springs? Bitch, I only drink Voss. What is this? Like, what are you doing? And that also, I think, just goes into how you were saying the content that you make. Like, you put out glamorous, beautiful content. Guys, if you haven't seen Worldwide Winston, go check out the Instagram channel right now, because I can't believe the shit that you get on video. Like, it's bizarre and it's amazing. I
can't believe it.
But I guess, you know, like, another question I have is, how did you get Winston adjusted to this life? Obviously, like we talked about, he's a service dog. He's used to, you know, going places, being with you at all times, being attentive, but just taking a dog on a plane, especially to other countries where, you know, there's going to be a lot of cultural differences. How do you go about that?
So when he was in training, so my trainer was training him in medical alert. And then he asked me when I went to see him, what are the key things you like really want me to focus on here aside from that? And I mean, I remember him laughing at my face because my list was just ridiculous. It would be like, can you do the trick where like he lays on the floor and I go,
or like can you do the trick where he brushes my teeth for me? Like, can you do the trick where he like wipes my ass?
That's very helpful to my daily life.
Yeah, like really, really helps me with my day-to-day like assistance. But one of the main things for me was before I got sick, I used to travel a lot. And I knew that with moving to the other side of the world, I was going to have to make trips on my own to see my family at times. And when I got sick, I didn't leave like even the house on my own for ages. I was so scared about going out and just it's more of the embarrassment of like just not having anything that makes you feel safe. So one of the key things I said to him is I need a dog that you can train that is comfortable traveling, because I'm going to be going all around the world and I need to know that that the dog is able to assist me and feels comfortable with it, because there's no point of me having one that can help me and then it can't come to other countries.
Do you mean the dog breed? Do you mean the dog breed? Like, is this what you said to the trainer, or this is
the trainer?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know if you were saying like what dog breed would be most comfortable.
Oh no, breeds no. Like I was given a list of like dogs that were good in terms of like the task that I needed. But when I saw corgi, it was just like game over, because I've always wanted a corgi. I was really sad that English bulldogs weren't on there because I really love them. But apparently they can't smell, so I mean, that's not going to help me at all.
Could you imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine an English bulldog? That would be so funny.
They'd just be drooling all over me. I'll just be left for dead.
Yeah. This absolute fucking boulder walking through what can probably barely fit through an airport, a plane aisle. People would be like jumping out of the way. Yeah, like
I would love that.
Turn down your volume for that disgusting sound that we just made. But yeah, that would be crazy.
I actually really want to see the list of dogs, because I feel like I've really only seen
most of them were like bigger breeds, and I picked a corgi for the fact that I'm only 5'1", and I didn't want a dog that was bigger than me if I was in situations where I can't control if it's trained enough, obviously, but you never know. And then on top of that, just traveling, I need something I can just like pick up if I need to, and it makes it so much easier having a smaller dog. But no, so one of the things we did with him during training is take him to airports. That's something that I would recommend anybody does if they're going to travel and particularly fly with a dog. Take your dog to an airport, because the sounds and the distractions are insane. It doesn't matter if you have your dog in a glow-in-the-dark flashing light vest that says, do not pet, do not distract. You'll have some person in the line, here doggy, they'll try and touch the dog. You have kids screaming, and you'll have parents coming up like, oh, it's a service doggy, and they'll still let their parents touch the service doggy without asking. So it's the most challenging place to take a dog, I would say, from experience, because everybody is amazed that there's a dog in the airport. And you also have working dogs as well, and those sniffer dogs aren't trained about distractions with working dogs that are service dogs. So I would say go to an airport. You'll get so much desensitization with your dog and training. So we took him there a lot. And then obviously, depending on the size of the dog, go on a plane that is a short flight, because once you're up in the sky, you're stuck in the sky. So if your dog doesn't like it, you can't get down. So we did a short flight with Winston, and I would recommend give something of comfort that smells like a familiar blanket, and just get them settled, give them a chew toy for takeoff and landing, because that's the only scary part really. And then the majority is they just sleep. So he just snoozes, as you see in his videos, which infuriate people, but he sleeps, and he doesn't sleep like that. It's obviously set up, but people, they take
people are dumb.
Yeah. Have you seen that video of, I forget who did it. It was somebody like pretty big. I think it was Magnus, but like the influencers setting their dog up to like lay down and then like the whole the intermediate phase of putting them down, making them stay, and then they take a video, and then it cuts to the actual video itself, and it's like, oh, I just found him like this. Like, of course not. Or like the dogs that put their teeth like stuck on their teeth.
Yeah,
like they don't
their
just,
teeth stuck on their teeth.
Their teeth on teeth. Yes,
literally. Do you think that Winston got onto a lay flat bed and pulled the blanket up and then brought his Snuggie toy next to him?
Obviously, he did.
Let's use our common sense, people. I know the boy is smart, but he's not that smart.
Wait, I have to take a picture of Chili because he looks really cute.
Okay, while Galen's taking a picture of Chili. So, you and it was your trainer, and then you obviously would have training sessions with Winston and this trainer because, of course, like you also needed to bond with Winston and be able to kind of be on the same rhythm. And did your trainer like come on the flight with you at first, or was he kind of like, here you go? Oh, he did.
Okay, so Winston was living the bougie life. He started high and then it started getting a bit lower. His first flight was on a PJ.
Oh, yikes.
Wow.
And we went to Colorado. Bearing in mind, we didn't prepare this for Winston at all. It was a group of people we were going, and we saw it as a perfect opportunity because we were going to Colorado as well. Winston had all his training in Florida. So not only did we see it as an amazing opportunity in terms of flying, it was a completely different, like, culture's the wrong word because it's still in America, but it's snowy and it was during winter. So we saw it as a perfect opportunity to take him to a different place, completely a different environment. That's the word I'm looking for, whilst getting him on a flight. So we flew him over. The trainer was able to come with us. And it was so fun watching him the first time in snow, trying to like figure it out. But he was so small, and the snow came up to like over our knees. So sometimes you couldn't even see him. But it was that was my first full like experience with Winston, where
traveling,
but even with me full time, because before that he was with the trainer. I'd never had him like overnight at my place. He'd come into my apartment for training sessions, but he'd never actually spent longer than a few hours with me. And I remember like snuggling in bed with him and like bonding. And it was just the most amazing thing. But we used that time as well to train and get him used to a different environment, flying, and we're being around different people, and there were other dogs there as well. So it was so fun. And as soon as I saw him kind of just prancing around the snow, I knew he was going to be amazing at being my travel buddy. And the next trip we did after that was to the UK. That was our big trip. And it was just Winston and I. So it was really scary. I remember taking that flight actually. And I cried when I got there because I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like I took a trip. I feel so safe because I have him with me. And my mum picked me up from the airport. And it was just the most amazing thing. Like watching him in my family home. This is how I feel like parents would be. Like I grew up in the same house all my life. My parents still live there. And it's like, when you like bring your children, it's like, this is where I grew up. This is where mummy grew up. I was like that with Winston, like watching him play in my garden that I used to play in as a little girl growing up. It was amazing now watching like my dog. Something you would never think, because you would never think when I get a dog, I'm going to be able to go to these places with them. And just seeing him like light up in different countries and being in my family home and being able, I take him around. I'm like, it's the Eiffel Tower. Oh, look, the Empire State Building. I feel like he understands, whether he does or no, but it makes me happy.
That's the whole point. So he went on the flight, the short flight tester, and then to the UK, and then obviously a million flights after that. Has there been like any difficulty at all since then? Like the travel, like besides him refusing to smile for pictures and stuff, like is there something that pops out to you right now that you could think of like, oh, this is like the most stressful part?
I would say even with having Winston as a service animal, people think that it automatically makes it very easy to travel, but it actually makes it very difficult because there are so many, especially in America, there are so many people that are abusing the system that people have to nowadays challenge it, because you see dogs that are completely out of control and untrained, and it doesn't make it easy for people like myself who generally need to have assistance when they travel. So now you have background checks, and they're so intense and they feel very invasive. And sometimes you feel like there's no end, and you feel attacked almost, like, why are you questioning? But you have to remember, like, there are so many people abusing it. And there have been times where there was a flight we had booked from the UK back to the States, and the airline had already approved me. 24 hours before our flight, they realized that they had put me in the wrong cabin and they couldn't have assistance dogs in any other cabin but an economy. And it was just a nightmare, because I had to redo the whole process again of sending Winston's training information. And they even went to the extent of, they wanted to ask for my medical records. They asked for my hospital records, like every time I had actually been hospitalized by my medical condition. And
is that legal?
It's not legal, no. So I actually had to take legal action against the airline, and it was settled. I won't mention the airline because it was settled, and they did actually call me personally, and they wanted to know how they could improve their special assistance with helping people. But even so, I guess back to the traveling, is it looks glamorous, but it's challenging even with having a service animal, because you're constantly having to fight for your rights to be able to travel with your service animal. And it's not always glamorous. Even when you get onto some of the flights, some of the crew aren't aware that there's going to be a service animal or a dog on board, and they don't mean to, but they don't realize some of them come off quite hostile, like there's an immediate kind of attack, and you just have to remember to keep yourself calm, because they're just doing their job. But it is challenging. Like, my last flight between France to the UK had me bawling on the phone to the UK government that approves Winston's travel in and out, because they only allow service animals that are trained by recognized organizations in Europe. And the captain wasn't aware of this, and he just was trying to kick me off the flight completely. And it was at 10 o'clock at night. I just wanted to get home. I had nowhere to stay. I was on my own as well, traveling. And I just was broke down on the phone. And luckily they allowed me on the flight. But yeah, it's never, I always show the nice sides of the traveling, but there's been plenty of times where I'm traveled, or I can't think. When I'm in those situations, my mind goes blank. I can't function. So yeah, it's not always glamorous.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and no one realizes it. So I think that's why people, look at your videos and they're like, oh my God, I want to travel with my dog. I can make my dog a service dog. I know some people do think like that, and they abuse the system. And going back to what you were saying about why there are such severe background checks at airports is because, more people are abusing the system. Yeah. And that honestly brings me to my next question is, what do you do, or how do you respond if you get negative comments on your videos when Winston is traveling? Because obviously, we talked about people abusing the system and maybe just not understanding what goes on behind the scenes.
So the first video that I had when it went viral, the comments were really difficult to consume, the ones that came through that are negative, because you can't help but take it personally. And then you have to realize these are just strangers on the internet. They do not know you. They don't know your story. And something that I always remember is somebody saying to me, not every single person in the world has the right to know your story. So when I first replied, I used to defend myself because I felt so attacked. And then I realized these people don't care. Whatever I tell them, I could put a video up of me having an episode and Winston working, and they would still find fault in it. And I realized there's no point in justifying myself. The only way I can get through this is if I use humor. And I started using my British, dark, sarcastic sense of humor.
Love it.
It worked. One of my videos, I got completely bashed. There were so many mean comments, and I would just backfire with sarcasm. And loads of people said, came for the cute dog, hit follow for the posters, hit clapbacks. And that was something that I kind of realized I was gaining following from. And I don't encourage people to negatively clap back, but if you find a way to do it in a positive way that's like fun and sarcastic, the right audience will see that and understand that it is sarcasm, and they will follow because they see a person behind the account. And that's far more productive than defending myself, because if I defend myself, I'm just giving them what they want, and I'm starting a debate. If I hit back with a clap back, they normally never reply again because they're so taken aback that I've said something that wasn't giving in to what they wanted. So now I just use humor with it. And honestly, I'm grateful that I have the support, and otherwise it probably would have consumed me. Because when it first happened, I remember G was like, you need to put your phone down or I'm going to take it off you, because I would be constantly looking at my phone because I would be so scared of somebody else leaving something negative. And then, he was amazing. And he just made me realize these are people that have absolutely no life. They've got nothing better to do. If you see a dog on a plane and you have something negative to say, there's something wrong with you. And then if you see that dog has an important job to do and you still want to attack somebody, there's something wrong with you.
Oh, and really wrong.
That's to be said for literally any negative comment on any dog account ever, unless you're doing something outrageous. But even so, like, there's always a way to phrase it being like, this isn't maybe the safest, and like, love your dog. You can always say things with kindness, but like any negative person on Instagram or social media, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Like,
do you have a job? Do you have like a purpose? I don't know. I mean, and especially to a service dog like Winston, who has a legitimate job, is helping you in day-to-day life, and someone decides to be like, this is a really good way for me to release my anger and just pitiful existence, honestly. But I absolutely love how you use humor, because I feel like, listen, I have a couple life mottos, but I think the one that I use the most is using humor in dark times, because that's just how you're going to bring yourself back up and make light of situations that could look really dark. And I just absolutely love, like I said, how you use humor to totally illegitimize these insults, because it's such an important thing, especially on social media, when there is, as much as there are positive posts and really cute things to look at, there's also a lot of really shitty things, and just how you turn that around is so admirable.
I mean, that's the thing. You like hit the nail on the head. With my page, it's about spreading positivity, and even with the stuff I post, people try and bring in other aspects of things going on in the world. And it's like, I am fully aware of those things. And that is why I want to create positive, funny, humorous content, because there are so many bad things going on in the world, and I can still be aware of them. But I don't think everybody uses Instagram to be depressed every single day. You can still be conscious of those things and help with those things. But what the best medicine in the world is laughter. It's laughter and fun. And if I can help people, that's enough for me. I bring joy and happiness, while the people that are leaving these comments are adding to the negativity going on in the world. So for me, as long as I can keep making it fun, as long as Winston is enjoying it and it's fun for him, I'm going to keep doing it. And the people that bring the negativity are eventually just going to give up, because they're never going to win. They're going to find someone else to try and attack. But there's so many negative things right now, like on the internet, and I use Instagram to be uplifted. I go on to watch Lumi Bear, chilling.
I
love it.
During this, whenever this is posted, the election has already happened, but the election really took over like all of social media. And I got I never thought, like, I'm not going to post on Chili's account like anything. It's Chili. I know I'm in it, but like, it's Chili. And I know a lot of influencers wanted to be forthright with it and stuff, but I got a lot of messages being like, thank you for not posting anything. I know other people have shared their opinion and stuff, which is completely fine. You're allowed to share your opinion. But they were like, I love dog Instagram. And these are people without dogs even. I love coming to these accounts and just feeling like an escape. And that's really what it is. Like, I cannot relate to you traveling the world, and I probably never will. Chili's not a service dog. I'm never going to pretend to be one. But I am like, this is so cool. Same with Jackie and Lumi. I don't live in New York City. I don't take Chili on a backpack, but it's just taking you out of your reality and just seeing happiness. You don't always need to mix the two, because that's where just negativity comes in.
And I think that's what the issue is. I feel like a lot of people can't relate because it's not their reality, and they may want that to be their reality. So instead of just kind of accepting that that isn't the reality, but being happy and wanting to enjoy and see another person or animal live in that life, they try and like suppress that person's happiness because they found their happiness and they're able to do something.
Yeah.
So that's how I always try and think about it, is sometimes when I do get really nasty, like I've had death threats, like people wishing me death. And it's sad when you get to that level, when you get those kind of comments, I actually feel sorry for that person, where I have to think there must be something going on in your life, because I would never, there's always going to be somebody that's living a lifestyle that you might want, or doing something that you might want. I'd love to be in New York. Come on, Jackie, where's my invite? I want to take you off the sofa and I want to live there for a week.
Bitch, my door's open.
I'm coming. You're going to regret that. But like, it's whatever is, like, I feel people can't be happy for other people's reality. So I always try and think about that as well. As much as I do clap back with some people, sometimes I just leave it, or I just say, I'm really sorry for whatever it is you're going through in life that's making you feel the need to wish that on somebody that you do not know. Because some people...
Can I pay you to reply to my stuff?
Oh,
I want to pay you to reply. Oh my God.
I pay you for clapbacks. I'm like, absolutely, I'll start a new business, Clapback Central.
Literally, Maddie, write a freaking book about the clapbacks, because there are some comments that I will see on your posts, and you are so good, where you're just like, we're like, oh, I didn't even think of that because my brain is actually out to lunch. It's coming back at 2 p.m. though. So if you could just check back in with me, that like you are so fucking incredible. And honestly, your clapbacks make me smile. And I wasn't even conscious of that for the first couple of times that I started following you and was reading them. But then one day I was like, wait, I should, like, whenever I need to laugh, like, this actually weirdly brightens my day, even though it has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what? Something that's so funny is, like, I'll sometimes be sat on the couch and G will be like on his phone, and I know he's sometimes looking at Winston. He's a very supportive dad. And I'll just suddenly hear him like laughing. And I'm like, what? And I'm like thinking, is it the video? And it's normally in one of my clapbacks, because he can hear me saying it, because he knows my humor. But he also knows when I'm replying to a troll, because I'm like, I find myself funny. I think I'm hilarious.
It is funny. It really is.
So my most recent video, I don't know if you saw it. It was me doing a video of this girl that had a baby, and she was born in 2006. And the point of the video isn't that she is a young mum. It's no disrespect to young mums. The point of the video is that I'm born in 1989. I'm a 35-year-old woman. People keep asking me, when are you going to have kids? I've been with my husband for 12 years. And I still feel like a child myself. If I got pregnant, I would be embarrassed to tell my parents I had sex. But this girl is born in 2006. So the point of the video is me like watching, thinking, oh my God, people born in 2006 are full-grown adults having babies. And it's like a reminder of my age. But people haven't taken it. So some people have been like, you're dissing young mums. And it's not the point at all. There was this one video in particular, one comment in particular that had me laughing. This girl was like, you born in 1989, you look like you've been born in 1979. The profile was of a house. That was their profile picture. And it was private with 2 followers. My reply to her was, you look like a house to me. She then replied back to me saying, I'd rather be something than this, but she spelt it with THEN rather than THIAN. So I had to explain to her the difference between then and than. Oh my God. And I said, rather have a brain than look younger. And she just blocked me. And it's just things like that. I'm just thinking these people come
I'm crying.
It's like they come to the wrong place. But with my clapbacks, what I hope I do, and other creators have said, like they've messaged me and said, you've started giving me confidence to actually clap back to people. And I get people saying it's so refreshing to see somebody that's posting content reply back to trolls. And I think they need to be put in their place. They do this as a hobby. Well, you just came to the wrong place. You're going to get clapped.
I'll tell you
just
to your
done
face.
Fucked yourself, bitch.
You came to the wrong place because Winston, he'll bark back and you wish you never came to my account because he'll put you in
I'm going to tell you right now that you're encouraging me to, because I don't get really obviously I'm not doing anything controversial really, but I do just get messages that I just sit at. And Jackie does encourage me sometimes to reply, but I'm like, I'm going to sound mean and everyone's going to hate me. But I'll just be funny with it now because people are so perverted on my stuff. Like, nobody's mad at me for petting Chili. They're like, wow, you're wearing leggings again? Or your feet are in this video for 2 seconds? Like, what a slut. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
How dare you show some skin there? How dare you show some
skin? How dare you have feet? I don't know.
But do you know what I think you should? And everyone always says to me, why do you waste your energy replying? And I'm like, it's not wasted on me because at the end of the day, when you reply to these people, it actually boosts my engagement because there's activity going on. People will either join me and they'll be like, that's the funniest reply, or they'll come back at me again with something even more stupid that I can reply back. And I'm like, you're just easy rage bait at this point. You're like literally bringing me better engagement, which is better. So it doesn't bother me. I'm like, energy.
What if you invited this? Obviously, you never do this, but it'd be just such a funny concept. What if you invited one of your trolls on a trip with you and just videoed how ridiculous they are? It would just be, I don't know. That just makes me think of old YouTube, and they would do things like that and be like, "Come with us, with my troll who left all these negative comments." And then
you're going to give me ideas. You're going to give me ideas. There was this one guy that did not stop trolling my page. I made a whole video on it. And he kept saying, where does Winston piss and shit? The exact terminology on the plane. I'm telling you, it was going on for over a week. My notifications were 90% of this guy. And then it was more I bet you eat his shit and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he so obsessed with my dog's
Only with Voss water, dumbass.
Maybe I'll invite him and then he can literally watch how Winston pisses and shits. And then I can give him some as a souvenir.
Well, on that note, you
don't want to hear any more.
Listen, as much as I love talking about shit,
more shit talk, more shit talk.
We're gonna have to wrap this shit up. You see what I did there?
Very nice.
But Maddie, it was an absolute pleasure, and I love you, and I love Winston. I love your page, and everyone go watch. I guess maybe you'll make a video of where Winston shits and pisses. Who knows?
Yeah.